Hey guys, so I was making bread this morning and I thought I would just jump on here and make a video real quick for you. So I'm not going to do a bread baking video. You can find as many of those as you want to look for. But one of the things we mentioned in our Sunday latte this past week was that when we bought our homestead, I wanted to be off the grid. Larry wanted to be on the grid. So he works full time. 50 hours a week away from the homestead, and to him to have to come home and worry about if we have enough electric based on the solar and just all these things, it was a bit much, on top of the fact that we moved into here with just 4 walls and a roof, insulation, and a wood stove, and living in this construction zone has been stressful to say the least at times. Mostly for me because I'm here all the time. He leaves and gets to come home, and so it wasn't as stressful for him, but he knew that it would be for me. And worrying whether or not we had enough energy was just something that he knew we weren't ready to tackle. But we did agree that we would hook to the grid, which cost us around $1,200, and our electric bill averages $40 a month. So the agreement we made, though, was that for everything we felt dependent upon on the grid, we would have a backup off-grid solution. And some of those things have not yet been accomplished. They're still a work in progress, but there are quite a good many that we have. Bread baking was one of them. So, we looked at bread and we said, to us, it's a necessity. Having bread was important. In a grid down situation or a SHTF situation, whatever you want to think of, we have the ability to grow the wheat if we need to make more bread. And it was just something, but being able to grind that wheat and everything else. So for an on-grid bread baking, we bought in 1999 the Whisper Mill grain mill. We've had this thing, like I said, since 1999, and it works as good now as it did for us the day we bought it. I love this grain mill. For baking the bread, obviously, I use my electric range, and that's great. We love it. But for the backup, what we've done is we have, I'll take you here and show you if I can move this. We have a Country Living grain mill, and it's just attached here in the kitchen, so we can grind our grain no problems. We do buy organic non-GMO grain. So we have this to grind our grain for baking it. So we have quite a few options for baking it off-grid. We have a cook stove. You can see it back here. Now, it's not hooked up yet. We're not really sure. This is a really old cook stove. Larry had it completely refurbished for me, so it's in great working shape. It has a water reservoir, the warming oven right here. But we haven't decided if we're going to go ahead and hook it up here or if we're going to wait until we move to the next homestead to hook it up. And we struggle. Again, we have a difference in opinion because I really like this old antique cook stove. Larry really likes the Pioneer Princess cook stoves, the new one. So we'll see what we do with that. But we do have this if we need it. The other way we have to bake bread in an off-grid situation is for the top of the wood stove, I have this old antique oven that we actually use most of the winter. I'm going to do a video on that soon. So we can bake bread over there. We also have an outdoor wood-fired oven. I'm going to do a video on that too, that we could bake bread in that. So we have multiple ways of baking the bread, and then the Country Living grain mill to grind the wheat, and of course the Whisper mill for the on-grid, which I use because I like how it works. I would use this, and sometimes if the lumberjack's home, he enjoys this and he'll grind up some grain for us, but this is my go-to. And so today I made some bread. Like, seriously, it's so good. And I got some rolls. And so we're just going to have some soup and rolls for dinner, but I just thought I would get on here and show you what we do for on-grid and off-grid bread baking. And as we go through and we introduce ourselves to you a little bit more, I'll continually share some of the other things that we do in on-grid and off-grid situations. And so I'm going to go have a cup of hot tea and a hot roll. I'll see you later.